Did MAGA explode on the scene because people want false idols? So I've been thinking a lot about this idea that we all of a sudden have so many idols, right? Like American Idol. And, we have all of this popular culture that puts people on pedestals. But the idea idol itself comes from a much earlier thing. Historically, when you look at faith, there was a period where people worshipped idols. And that is very important distinction, that like that thing itself was seen as the idol. So if you had a sculpture of the Apis bull, and that sculpture was seen as embodying the Apis bull, let's say. Now, what is really important is in Catholicism, they don't see that as embodying, let's say, the Virgin Mary. Instead, it is to remind you of the Virgin Mary. So that they're not worshiping that sculpture. They're worshiping the idea that sculpture represents. And then in 1517, Martin Luther puts up his 95 Theses, and it creates the schism between the Catholic and the Protestant church. And in many Protestant sects, all imagery disappears. I often wonder what happened to that first generation where you just have no imagery. It must have been such an intellectual shock. But what you see, though, is in other faiths that have no icons, like in Islam, you still see a lot of material culture. You still see a lot of visuals. Even in Judaica, the art of Judaism, there's still all kinds of things. But in many Protestant spaces, you don't have that. You have an absolute absence of imagery of any kind. And then in the 20th century, you see the rise in all kinds of things like, Jesus playing basketball, and you see Christian movies and all of this stuff. And I wonder if those things are to fill this human need for imagery and this human need for something to connect to visually and really to worship. Because in that same 20th century, we see the rise in reality TV and these people that we're kind of looking up to. And I wonder, because if you think about it, 1517 means that, more than 1,200 years, people in Christianity had images that they used for their faith. And then even before that, for thousands of years, humans have made religious imagery. And so is this because we have deprived ourselves of something that we have been evolved to love?